Hey guys, Stud Muffin here. Although it's probably going to be better if I talk as Aaron, because today's going to be somewhat of a serious video. If you saw the title of the video and the thumbnail, you probably might be aware if you know who this individual is. But today I woke up to the news that Alex Cimo, better known on YouTube as Cimo, passed away. Now, if you're not familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTube or Yugituber as it's called, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a card game that's a TV show, popular anime, and Alex Cimo was a YouTube personality that primarily did his channel on the card game, playing the online games and talking about the card game in general. And he passed away, unfortunately, today, stage 4 colon cancer, which was a shock to me because I didn't know he even had cancer. I've been following him for almost 10 years, it seems like, and I knew he had like colorectal issues, but I didn't know he had cancer. I kind of fell out of following him a little bit, and I found out today that he had cancer, unfortunately, because he did pass away from it, stage 4, which is pretty bad. It hits home with me a little bit because my grandfather, he ultimately passed because of he originally had colon cancer, which eventually led to his demise. But I want to talk about Alex Cimo today because I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. You might have seen that I do quite a few videos on Yu-Gi-Oh, and I've been watching Cimo for a long time. And this one really, this one really hit hard with me today. And I wanted to talk about it and, give my respects to him and his family, which I don't do a lot for online personalities or celebrities. It has to really affect me for me to want to talk about it on video. And I want to talk about it today because he seemed like such an awesome dude. I didn't know him personally, but everything I've seen about him, he seemed like a really rad dude, really chill, awesome dude. And he had a big impact on how I perceive the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've touched upon this in other videos in the past where I've had different periods of being in and out of the game. But my friends and I, we would always play casually. And about 10 years ago, 2016, the rumblings within our group had begun to stir, and we were more interested in actually going to an actual event, not like a card shop, tournament, little mini tournament deal, but like a regional. And when we decided we were going to do it, it had been too late in 2016. The next available closest one to us was going to be in 2017. So we had like 6 months to prepare. And that was also around the time that my buddy Alec, not Alex, but Alec, showed me that he watches Yugitubers and introduced me to the concept of Yugitubers. And Cimo was one of those guys. And I was watching a lot of these people to kind of prepare myself for competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was loving all of his breakdowns of different decks, and he would go over the ban lists, which anytime a ban list dropped, he was the first guy I was usually watching because I loved his reactions to when cards would get banned or unbanned or limited. And he was always just so upbeat and very enthusiastic, and he made it very engaging to watch his content. And it's funny, I wish that I watched his breakdown of the Zodiac deck. I watched it after my first regional, which I'll talk about my regional experiences some other time. But short story, make a long story short, my very first regional I ever went to was when I first discovered Zodiacs. And how much they pummeled me that day. And it wasn't too long after that I watched his breakdown of not only the archetype, but the combos. And I was like, I really should have watched this before I went to regionals. I wish I would have seen this, because then I could have been prepared. But I loved his combo tutorials. Like he showed one about the pendulum magicians with, I'm trying to remember, it was, it was right around, was it 2018, 2019? It was right when Astrograph Sorcerer and all that stuff came into the fold. And I was inspired by that so much that I decided to play Pendulum Magicians. Also when Electromite came in, because the links had came in, and I actually took Pendulum Magicians to another regional, and I did a lot better than I did my first one. And a lot of that came down to learning about the combos and what that deck can do from Cimo. And I enjoyed watching him play Master Duel. I enjoyed him, going over different Yu-Gi-Oh products. One of my favorite videos is when he goes over, I think it's like a Walmart Yu-Gi-Oh package with like a highly graded Cyberstein that's advertised for it, and he like tears that product apart because it's kind of a ripoff. And I always liked watching that, and that's one of my favorite videos of his. And it's kind of a sad point now, because at that time I was really obsessed with watching Yu-Gi-Oh content on YouTube. That was like the most dominant part of my feed, and he was one of the main parts of it. And a lot of people will say, well, who's your Mount Rushmore of Yugitubers? I don't really have 4 offhand. I have definite 3. Yugi No, Galactigod, and Cimo. And it's kind of sad, because given the state of where those 3 individuals are, Cimo unfortunately passed away. Galactigod no longer does videos, and I believe Yugi No is either scaled back dramatically, or he's not really doing it anymore. So that whole period of nostalgia for me, that's an era that'll never be recreated or never happen again. It's impossible now. That was a very big nostalgic part of my life. When I was watching YouTube nonstop, I was pretty much watching majority of that stuff, and I was watching their stuff over and over again, because each one brought a different flavor to it. And Cimo's videos were really awesome too, in the sense of what he did for other people. Like I said, I never personally met him, but he seemed like a really awesome dude. I remember a specific video he went about, and I don't remember exactly the name of the video or something, but it might have been something about talking about teaching people how to play or getting younger kids into it. And he described an event he was at where they were teaching young kids, and he helped young children who were playing in the game learn the essential rules with basic starter decks. And he was very passionate about that. And I've always wanted to teach people how to do Yu-Gi-Oh! And I never understood where I should start. And he had a great grasp of it. And I was kind of inspired to do that based on that. I never actually did, but he was a big boost for me wanting to do that. And that's what really sucks about his passing, because you see, you go and search his name up now on YouTube and stuff, and all the big Yugitubers now, like Dzeef and Team APS and all that stuff, they're just at a loss for words. He was very well known. He was one of the big names, I consider it, at least. And it's sad, because not only that, he's younger. He's like 2 or 3 years younger than me. And it really puts in your mind in perspective on how quickly life can turn and change so dramatically. And I really hate to see that. It's been really bugging me all day about that, because he was such full life, and he really enjoyed this game. But I guess the silver lining is it's kind of lit a fire in me to try to get back into the game and maybe play competitive again. Like, 'cause I've been out of the game for a while. Like, I really haven't been playing much and haven't been playing Master Duel, but this whole situation is kind of like opened me back up to wanting to get back into it, just in his honor, his spirit, because he really loved the game. And, I love the game, and it was great to see somebody so passionate about it. So, whether I get into it immediately or not, when I do get back into it, part of it will be in honor of Cimo. And, yeah, I don't think I have anything much more to add than that, but I do want to give condolences to his family, all his loved ones. He was more missed than most people would give him credit for. Like, my Facebook feed today and my Instagram and my Twitter stuff have been popping up with memorials to him, and it's crazy because, like, I didn't realize how far his reach went, but it's not surprising. So I'll close out by saying, Cimo, wherever you are in this galaxy or universe, thank you for giving a little inspiration to this lughead over here, and thank you for being such a passionate ambassador, in my opinion, for a game that you loved, that I loved, and a lot of people in the Yu-Gi-Oh community loved. And you will be truly missed. You will never be forgotten. I promise you that. You'll never be forgotten. You're up there now. I think you're up there with Galactic God as far as legendary status of, like, humble Yu-Gi-Oh YouTubers. I really think you're up there now. And yeah, wherever you are, you should be proud of that.